national crisis of affordability.
The Biden administration started the affordability crisis, and my administration is ending it. I'm ending it. Prices are way down.
America's affordability crisis is everywhere right now, in politics, in news feeds, and in everyday conversations. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's a crisis no politician may actually be able to solve, as per a Wall Street Journal analysis. President Trump and New York's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani both campaigned on affordability. It was the message that won. But defining what affordability even means? That's where everything gets messy. Trump entered office frustrated that talk of an affordability crisis was dragging down his presidency. And last week, on Friday, he came face-to-face with the man blamed for making it a national obsession, Mamdani. Mamdani doesn't talk about foreign policy or ideology. He talks about rent, groceries, electricity bills, the everyday costs squeezing Americans. And he returns to it again and again. But getting elected on affordability is one thing. Solving it is another. Because here's the catch. America's affordability crisis isn't one crisis. It started as a real, sharp spike in inflation between 2021 and 2023. Prices jumped, wages lagged, households felt the stress. But inflation has cooled since then. It was 9% at its peak, now it's around 3%. Real incomes have actually risen over the last year. So why doesn't it feel better? Because affordability isn't just about inflation. It's about the specific costs that matter to people right now. And those change constantly, by city, by income, by life stage. Eggs, bacon, gasoline, rent, electricity, coffee. The crisis moves from product to product like a spotlight. The minute one price falls, another becomes a new outrage. Politically, that makes affordability a perfect weapon. There will always be something expensive. And challengers like Trump in the past, like Mamdani now, know exactly how to tap into that frustration. Trump hammered Biden over gasoline and groceries. Some claims were exaggerated, but it didn't matter. They stuck. Now it's Mamdani using New York's sky-high rents, transit fares, and cost of living to fuel his narrative. But here's the pure economics reality. There is no simple policy that brings prices down. Americans don't want lower inflation. They want lower bills. And that doesn't happen unless there is a deep recession. No politician will choose that. Housing is the biggest example. Mortgage rates were abnormally low for over a decade before the pandemic. Cheap borrowing inflated home prices. Now rates are back to normal, but prices haven't fallen. So payments are painfully high, especially for first-time buyers. Mamdani frames it in emotional terms. He says, in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, 1 in 5 can't afford $2.90 for a Metro card. It's a memorable line, but public transport isn't what makes New York unaffordable. The fare is rising slower than inflation, and that's the fundamental problem. Affordability isn't a single crisis you can attack from one direction. It's a moving target made up of thousands of small pressures. Rent, transit, eggs, electricity, fuel, childcare, healthcare, groceries. So the paradox is this. Affordability is the perfect political message and the most impossible promise to keep. Whoever is in power, Trump, Mamdani, or anyone else, will learn the same lesson. You can win an election on vibes, but you can't solve a crisis that won't stay still.